Alrighty guys, so it's time to work on Big Blue and her lack of oil pressure problems. To date, off camera here, I have pulled the right hand axle housing off and I have cleaned the screen and the transmission. I cleaned the sludge out of the transmission. There really wasn't a whole lot, maybe just a little bit of old oil in the bottom and probably clutch material is what it is more than anything. But I did that, primed it up best I could, made sure I had oil back to the oil pump and running through the oil pump. And that basically did nothing. Still pretty much got the same thing, I just barely get any oil. Which apparently has been enough oil to keep it from blowing up, but I would much rather fix the problem. And while I was screwing with that and I had to tilt it back, this thing started smoking, so that tells me that this motor hasn't been getting oil for a while, and it's probably toasted the bore too. So don't really know if that's going to make this a worthwhile adventure at this point now, but I would still like to figure out why this has no oil pressure. So I'm thinking the problem is something to do with the oil pump. When you turn it by hand with the line off over here, you can definitely tell it changes and it'll put more oil out when you're turning it by hand. But that's all I've got so far. So at this point, I'm going to get the crank pulley off, and while I have the oil pump cover off, I'm going to shim it too because it's got too much forward and back play. So that'll be something to show. So anyhow, I get it tore apart and find something, I'll let you guys know here, or at least do show and tell. Alrighty guys, so as far as Big Blue goes here, I took the oil pump apart. While I didn't see anything too detrimental with it, it's got to be something with the oil pump. It's just not flowing enough oil. And to me, the shafts that the oil pump gears ride on, the whole shafts actually wiggle up and down. So I'm thinking, this is merely kind of hypothetical at this point, that whenever and whoever updated this low volume block to the high volume oil pump, that the gears weren't put in correctly or something. And at this point I'm kind of just done screwing with it. I think some of you guys can attest when you get to that point with something. So I have a couple different schools of thought here. I can put another bottom end on it, and then I can hone and maybe re-ring the top end whenever I pull it apart. And that's probably the way I'm going to go. The other thought I had was take the top end off of this and the gear reduction wheels and put on the other 1953 I have. Because pretty much the short version of a long story, I want a decent running and usable 1953. Is this thing usable? Yeah, it does pump some oil, but it does not pump much at all. There is not a constant stream that comes out of it. You basically just get a little dribble, kind of drip like this, that comes out of the advanced casting, so, or out of the oil return. So yeah, that's how much oil pressure and flow this thing has, which is not much. So I think that's going to be the end of this segment here for a little bit. What I'm going to do is segue over here to the 56, and I'm going to put another handlebar on it. I think you guys can see, yep. Handlebar is broke, so I have another one that's not broke I'll put on there. Probably grind the weld off of the reinforcement plate and stick that on here. So I'm going to look around, see if I got another block somewhere, and we'll go from there. Well, finally happened. Snow on the ground. Oh boy. I think my fire went out last night, but oh well. It's not like it's up 10:30 or anything right now. Alright guys, so back here in my L Parts Depot, or LI or CI or Whatever, but anyhow, looking for another lower end to put on Big Blue. There's that one there. It has the harder to take off magneto shaft style, so it's a little bit more of a pain, but could be done down here. I gotta take an oil line off to get it out. The rod play seems okay. This one right here is only half of the crankcase. Only the front half is on there. And the one to the left there is a full engine, but I can't really get to it at the second. And I'm pretty sure the one right underneath that gas tank fan shroud there is a full engine. I think. Looks like it's still got all the oil lines and everything on it. But I can't tell from here if it's tight or not. So, I'm going to have to make up my mind, and if I decide I want to build the LI there into my dad's tractor, I'm going to need to pull that out anyhow, so might not be a bad idea, but I thought about just unbolting this motor here. If it wasn't for the mag shafts on these, they'd be real simple to get off, but you know how it goes. So, think about this a little bit more, and maybe not tonight, I won't work on it, but another day. But it's supposed to be warmer, so always good to look in the daylight. So, got the next round of projects here loaded in the shop since I got the 56 out. I believe this motor is going to go from there onto Big Blue here, and we'll see what the top end looks like when I take it apart. And I always said I wanted to put an MA210 on a L, which I'm going to put it on an LS, at least is my idea. You know how that goes. So I got this MA210 I got at the auction over the summer out. It'd actually be kind of nice. Could probably do it. I have another LS and put the square chute dog eater on there and see how they compare. Might be kind of entertaining, but that's way down the road. Putting the old chicken before the egg sort of deal. So anyhow, get this conglomeration of a project going. I was honestly hoping the suction tube was just plugged in the transmission, because it is pumping, just not really good. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm just gonna swap blocks. I'm done screwing with it, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna look this thing over a little bit more before I invest much more time in it than I already have. Just fishing it out of my parts selection, which I think I took a clip of that, and I'll show you guys, or have showed you guys already. That's how I ended up here, and go from there. So anyhow, catch you on the next segment. This wood stove is so nice, constant heat. Once you get it to light, this morning, enraging for some reason, because everything was damp. Sorry, damp. Alrighty guys, so got another motor and transmission in here for this tractor. Mainly the motor was attached to the transmission, it's just easier to bring the whole thing in. But anyhow, I decided to take the cylinder head off of Big Blue here and just look around. And anybody notice anything here? Anybody? Alright, so if you're a true Gravely guy, you know that the notch goes towards the front of the motor. Well, the front of the motor on a Gravely is actually the rear of the motor where the fan is. So this piston has been in here backwards for quite a while. Top that off, there was a head bolt broken over here. This is a 7.6 style jug, because pretty much the early ones, they only had bosses like around the head bolts, and then they come in like so and go back out. And this thing is 20 over. I think you guys can see that. And I'll show you what the bore looks like, and it's not real good, to be honest with you guys. But can you guys? Yeah, you guys can see it there. But yeah, I'm actually surprised this thing don't smoke worse, to be honest with you guys, because there's scoring from here to here vertically. And there's some right in here. I mean, the ring gap don't look... There's no... Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Check that out. You guys see that? I bet you there's a 1/8 inch gap between the piston and the cylinder walls. So that's not good, Raggy. So old Big Blue, while it does run, Big Blue is hurting pretty good here. And I don't know that I'm gonna be able to help Big Blue's cause a whole lot. Because pretty much, lean back on the bench here and talk about this, guys. Because pretty much, even if I get the oil pressure problems figured out, that motor is still gonna smoke. You know, I don't care what you do. That's even above my standards, as Ralph would say, or RW3 Dog. Steven has, we'll call them 3-cent rebuilds. But, yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. So, now what do I do? What do I do? Because to be flat out and honest with you guys, the more and more I look at this thing, the more and more I'm thinking they did something to the motor on this, and they did a complete swap from a 7.6. Because there is no intake camshaft sticking out over there, which was an automatic red sign to me. And this tractor has all kinds of rating under the hood. I'll go back through here and look at any of the notes and see what they say. So, monkey with that. But this block I have here would actually be the right style. Has the intake cam, it's in the shadow, but the intake cam sticking out. It has the right old school style magneto coupler. It is a low volume oil pump. So, what I'm wondering is if the suction tube in the transmission don't have a hole or something up above the oil level. That's a consideration I've had. I don't know. I don't know. So now I'm more perplexed on what to do, because I can't just slap this motor back together the way it is. It's going to turn into a way bigger nightmare than I want to get into at the moment. Can the nightmare be dealt with? Yes. So there's at least 2 minutes of me standing here thinking about what I'm going to do with this. May have to go back and look at the footage and see if the other 1953L, if I ever pulled the cylinder head and looked at the cylinder in that. My assumption is probably not, but it might be what I end up doing here, because not really worthwhile in my opinion. Just swap the gear reduction wheels off of this. Maybe that motor is a little bit more rebuildable. Who knows? Maybe somebody put a 20 over piston and a 30 over bore. That's definitely possible, and I have definitely seen people do that before. I've done it before. You think it's one thing, you pick up the wrong cylinder and do another. So, anyhow, let me decipher this, guys, and I'll get back at you. Okay, I don't know if the camera will be able to make this out or not. This tractor has some fairly well-noted history on it, and this is prior to the guy that I bought it from. So if you guys can read that, it was bought May 15th of 99, and pretty much up here at the top, May 30th, 99, got running. I'm trying to hold the light and hold the sticker, which... Ting! Oh yeah, that was good, Steve. There we go. Okay. So we got running, reset valve, repair mag, then you got wouldn't run. Up here in the corner, I've been trying to decipher this because it goes into November 8th of 2002. Something didn't over... I don't know. Didn't over serial number. I'm trying. This may have said thought. I don't know. I'm trying to decipher that. Okay, did not operate. Thought did not operate. November 18th, 2002. Tractor number 8. And there's actually a number 8 over here on this side of the hood. So, but that's at least all the history I have on this tractor. When I got it, I figured out that the valves were out of adjustment and that the keepers weren't tightened. Because basically this is the 2-wrench style adjustment. So, that tells me there had been some work done to this thing way prior to even the last 2 owners before me. And I bought this tractor in 2012, just an FYI. This is one of the tractors of the Great Gravely Haul. This is some of my older videos, because I'd only been doing YouTube since 2010, roughly about the time I graduated, I think. I'll have to go back and look at that. But, anyhow, go back to thinking. So I guess I'm going in. The reason I didn't show these tractors on my tractor update is they are way back in there. I shouldn't be doing this with a camera in my hand, but here I am, killing it. Okay, so the last and final hurdle. Oh, come on, foot, work with me. Wonder if I let the outrigger down on the back out. Hold on. Okay, get that set up. So if we go like this. There we go. I don't know if I'll be able to get over top of this or not. Alright, hold on. Okay, kind of backed in here at this point. So this tractor has the most of an electric start. Put a mag back on it that I had fixed years ago off the 59 LS. It still has the low volume block. I think it's plumbed correctly. Yep. Looks like the oil filter's plumbed correctly. Carburetor's there. I remember I borrowed the carb off of this to go run something else. It has the electric start hood and everything. Tires on it are junk, which is normal. And there's that the 57 I was talking about. But I'd really like to see in the top of this motor, but I'll tell you this much. Cramped in down here. I'm not in that. So I would get back out of here, but I know I can't do that on camera. So, anybody ever wondered what happened to the Super Cub? There it is. Been stealing parts off of it for years for my Magnum stuff. Still here. Actually, I stole some parts the other day for Mom's Super Cub. So, anyhow, let me get back out of here. Oh, jeez. So, there that is. And this may be a project one day I do, because I've kind of decided that them tractors in there are a bit of a problem, because only my backhoe will fit back here now. I can't put a regular tractor in there. And I kind of want to get the 60 LS out of here. So minimum to do that would probably be easier to move the Yanmar. But I also want to just slide these tractors back, or this tractor just go behind that, and then those other two can go right where this one is. Or I guess at this point might end up being one, and Big Blue may end up not one. I don't know. Do some soul searching and some thinking tonight sort of deals. So, alright, well, I think it's going to be it for part one. I've done a lot of talking, not a whole bunch of work, but sometimes you'll have that on these big jobs. Billy goating my way back through here. So, back into the heat. Ah, nicer over here. So, make up my mind what I'm going to do, and I'll let you guys know. Boy, the battery in this camera sucks. Went from full charge to no charge. Jesus crimey Christmas. Okay there, guys, so got the other 1953 pulled in here. This one, or Big Blue, is 84744, and this one is 85734. Well, that is oddly close to 1,000 apart. Interesting. Anyhow, this one here, at least the piston's in the right direction, but it's got crazy ring gap too, or piston to cylinder clearance, and drum roll, this one is 30 over already, so we still don't have a good cylinder that could be fixed. But this tractor here is actually mismatched, or Frankenstein tractor, or whatever you want to call it. I've seen guys call it a lot of things over the years. So now I really don't know what to do, because at least this one is 20 over, so there's a chance putting a 10 over, yeah, a 30 over piston in it might clean that jug up, or it might be good enough for a collector tractor that's not going to get used 40 hours a week, maybe 8 hours in 2 or 4 years. So I don't know. Still haven't really made any headway, I guess. I've just essentially put more stuff in the project bay. I really don't need any more stuff in here. I get any more stuff in here, I'll hardly be able to walk. Probably gonna switch gears here. I'm gonna go to the 60 LS, put the snowblower on it, get the snowblower working, and then I can kick this stuff out of here, and I'll be back to having a little bit of room again. So that's my thought for right now, and I will come back into these two projects, or this project and that project. Maybe who knows? Maybe I'll end up just fixing this over here for right now and just put Big Blue on a back burner, or Big Blue could be an experimentation. Run it till it blows. I really don't like blowing up sort of decent machinery, but you know, could be a thing, I guess. But yeah, I guess that's going to be it for this one, at least for right now, guys. So, stay tuned for the next segment of this, and I'm sure it's only going to get more interesting as I go along.